Welcome to yet another episode of that same old series, which we've only done once before.
And this series is, of course, for those who didn't see the last one, for model cars. And I'm not in the business of buying model cars all the time. Of course, recently I showed the Audi Streamliner, which came in the post. That was pretty cool. Very happy with that one. I'm going to give it like a centerpiece location in my collection because it's such a fantastic looking car. So I've got a new one. And this one is very lightweight, as you can see. Well, kind of. It's 1/18 scale, yet again. And it's not the kind of car that I would usually buy.
So we're going to open her up and then see what car's up inside of there. So we're going to open up the box there and see what's inside, give it a quick look.
So what we're going to do here is open it up and see what's inside here, and yeah. So we're going to see what's inside. So what we are going to do is open box and check what inside, and if what inside is what I order, hopefully it is. So to open box we will need hands and eyes and a knife.
Let's open up this box, shall we?
Once again, you can kind of see what it is because of the lighting. But let's open her up and see what's inside of there. It's upside down, which doesn't help. There's a couple of clues as to what it could be. One of the things that I said about the box being light, that's kind of a clue within itself. Seems like the person who sent it was a smoker, unfortunately. And there it is. It's a Jaguar R1, I think it was. Personally, I'm a big fan of the R5 from, I think it's 2004. But this one's pretty nice as well. It's made by Hot Wheels. Yeah, Jaguar R1, made in the year 2000. The toy was, at least. Yeah, pretty good condition. Working steering is always a nice bonus. Nice quality to it. It is metal, nice and cold. Not that that's a requirement, but yeah, it looks pretty nice. As I said, not exactly the kind of model car which you probably expect me to get, because I'm not a huge F1 fan in general. And to be honest, I'm not even a huge fan of Jaguar as a racing team in general. It's more so that I just like the look of their Formula cars. I like their livery that they have, the HSBC white and green. I just think it looks good, basically. There are probably two Formula cars, well, no, three actually, three Formula 1 cars that I do really like, and I've tried to find model cars of all three of them. But one of the biggest problems that I've found with getting model cars is that by far, most of the ones that I would like to get only come in 1/43 scale, which I believe is like that kind of size. Well, actually, I've got one here. I bought this one ages and ages ago. It's a bit dusty. Whoops. Whoopsie! A GT40. Which is nice, but I didn't pay barely anything for this because I bought it in, I think it was like a, it wasn't used, but it was in like some kind of seaside shop, something like that. It was like £2 or £3. So they don't know how to sell a car like that. They didn't, it's a toy car, make it £2 or £3, I don't know. So yeah, it was pretty cheap. Whereas something like, all the Formula 1 cars that I wanted were the Williams FW15C. Or I would really like a Brabham BT46B, the Alfa Romeo liveried fan car. You can get that. It is on eBay, but it's this size, which I don't really want. Especially when for this size, it was like, I think, 60 quid. Something like that. That's the problem with a lot of the cars that I want. They only come in that kind of size. Even stuff like the chaparrals, because I'd love to have a model car of the 2J as well, especially if you could take the back off and see the secondary snowmobile engine and all that kind of stuff. That'd be pretty awesome. But yeah, for some reason, all the popular ones, or all the like more extreme and exotic cars, seem to be 143 scale, and they don't do them in 118, which is weird. I would have thought that people would want to get these, and in fact, in the last episode for the Audi Streamliner, somebody, or I think a couple of people, said about that they would like to start getting model cars and what the best sizes are for getting model cars like that. And whoops, whoopsie, wing mirrors come off. Please hold. Oh well, I'll fix it in a bit. But I think 118 scale is the best because it's big enough to be able to appreciate the detail on the car and for it to look nice and big and chunky on a shelf like this one does. But at the same time, it's not so big that you can't find anywhere to put it. Because you can get bigger than these. You can get, I think, up to like 1/8 scale. And what the scale actually means on these cars is that each, when it's like 118 for instance, what that means is the car is not 1/18 of the original size, which is probably what you'd assume. It actually means that each 1 inch on this car represents 18 inches on the real version of that car. So a 143 is 1 inch represents 43. So it's interesting how they do that. I would have assumed back in the day that it was like 143 of the size of the car, but it's not. It's interesting once you know that. And it makes more sense doing it that way. So yeah, pretty cool, this one. I'll do another video probably if I do win the other one. I had a car that I was bidding on, which I was outbid, decided not to continue. It was a Citroen, I think it was a Citroen CX, the classic one, but I had a momentary lapse of thought and I thought it was the Citroen that has a Maserati engine, which I believe is the SM when I think about it. And then when I realised it wasn't the one that I thought it was initially, I had a bit of a brain fart, then I wasn't that bothered about actually winning that. So if I do see a Citroen SM, that is a car that I do like. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty nice to have this Jag. It's a nice one. It's very lightweight. I've got a couple of Hot Wheels ones now. The TVR Speed 12 is also a Hot Wheels model. They make some pretty nice cars, actually. I can highly recommend Hot Wheels. They make good 118 scale cars. They've got a good chunkiness to them. As long as it's not a rearview mirror. But yeah, that's about it. And I'll see you guys maybe in a few days when if I win the other car. So yeah. And also, actually, before I forget, I've got another, at least one. One is guaranteed because I've already bought it. And potentially another 2. It depends if I win the bids. I've got another 3 models coming, but they're not model cars. They're actually some movie-related models, which I don't usually buy. In fact, I don't own any movie-related models or action figures for that matter. And these are kind of action figures, but they're more like dioramas, like little scenes from the movie. And I won't tell you what the movie is, but anyone who has followed stuff that I've talked about before will know when I say that it is my favourite movie ever. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting at least the 1, maybe all 3 if I win the bids, and they are pretty cool. So yeah, that's about it. And as always, thanks for watching.